Welcome to What Writers Should Know. I am Erica Lance. An author, but I'm also the CEO and founder of Four Horsemen Publications. And with me today is J.M. Paquette, who's an author and is the lead editor at Four Horsemen Publications. We are super excited today. Hopefully the sound quality is not too bad. I had a laptop die, which I'm fixing, but I'm outside in beautiful North Carolina. There you go. And we're here today to talk to you about feeding the reader horde and what that means. So, Jen, let's start with, I know when I get a good book, of course, if I'm riveted, it takes me a couple days, but on average, about a week to read a book. How long does it take you to read a book?
If it's a good book and I have nothing to do that day.
Wow. So, but that's like a common thing, especially with like romance and readers, is that readers can read really, really fast.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
yeah. And so as authors, it is impossible that we will ever write enough to feed our readers that do that. It's just, I don't care how prolific you are. Maybe when they first find you, if you had a lot of books, but it's not going to take them long to get through those. So there's a couple things we need to talk about. One of them is, and I love that you said this best, because this is not a competition.
Yeah. That's one thing I've noticed with certain authors where they're like, well, I need that reader. It's like, no, that reader is for all of you. If you write in a similar genre, that reader's going to read all of your books. So when they finish with you, you want to give them your friend so that when they finish with your friend's book, your friend's like, hey, did you like mine? You know, you would also like Jen's. So build that sense of community. You're all sharing the same readers and you cannot feed them enough.
Exactly. And that's a huge part of it, is the community. So that's the other piece. Is one, listen, unlike buying a car where you hopefully have that car for the predetermined lease period, or like if you're like me or Jen, we buy them and then we run them until our mechanics say, hi, you need a new car. So that, for me, my last car was 10 years I had that car, right? Because I love the car. I had the car. But when I buy a book, I'm not having a book for 10 years. Like, I might keep the book, but I have read, I don't even know how many books in 10 years, right? And so you're always going to want your reader to find other books. But one of the best things you could do, community. Find other authors that write in your genre and befriend them. Not become best friends with them, but like get to know them and create this community, because then you're keeping your reader within this group too, because they will always remember you because you're active, which is a huge part of this, is being active, and also having a newsletter, for instance, and sharing other authors that write in your genre on your newsletter, and even going, I read this book, I recommend it, right?
hmm Yeah, newsletter swaps are huge because you send your newsletter and you have your people, but if you swap with somebody, then you gain all of those readers, they gain all of yours, and that's good. It's not like you're fighting for customers, right? It's the more people, the more readers, the more for everybody. It's that I know they have that, a rising tide lifts every boat. It really does because the way readers work, even if you're going to write a book, in some like methamphetamine craze of like 2 weeks, that's still 14 days. A romance reader has read 10 to 14 books in that time period. So you're never going to catch up. So that idea of like, oh no, if they read them, they're not going to read me. No, they will. They will read all of you. So,
And that's the thing, it's not a singular sport. And in doing that, like, your reader, if they're reading, say it takes, like, our Four Horsemen readers take on average about 6 months to write a book, right? Some are faster, some are a little slower, which is fine. Everybody takes their time. But you're talking 2 books a year, which for somebody like Jen, if she really loves them, that's 2 days. So it took you 365 and it took them two, which
mhm.
means you're going to have to find something for them to read, keep them engaged with, but also keep them in touch with you. Because when your next book comes out, even if you can do it in 3 months, I know some authors, that's still 90 days from the last time they read your work. you want to keep them engaged. And you also, as a writer, need to remember that once you put your work out there and you start finding fans, I don't care if it's 5 fans or 5,000 or 50,000 fans, they're waiting for your next book. So if you take forever to write it, that doesn't work. As somebody who's done that, I know that that doesn't work. It doesn't, because what happens is, especially if you take a really long time, one, they can get angry that it's taking so long. And two, they can get disappointed, frustrated, and it's kind of like bad customer service because then they're like, "Ah, I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait 3 years for the next one." Right? They want it
Or
right away.
or if it's, a complicated story and then they have to wait forever for book 3, well, now it's been, 6 months, 8 months since I last played with these characters. I gotta go back and reread book 1 and book 2, and maybe I'm not ready to do that as a reader. So having a schedule where, like, that your fans know you have a book, it comes out every 6 months, then they can prepare for that and be like, "Okay, so maybe I'll wait for book 3, until I, get books 1, 2, and 3." I mean, I'll be honest. I read series primarily now because I read romantasy. That's my thing. And if there's just one book, I'll wait. I'm like, I'm not gonna read just one unless it's a standalone. I'm not reading just one. I'm gonna wait until there's at least 3 books in the series before I commit my time to read the 3, and then I'll be like, when is book 4 coming out? Um,
And that is how readers react, and that's how they do it. It's like, okay, when is it coming? So the things we're talking about is one, creating a community, finding other authors that write in your genre, do newsletter swaps, get to know them, share with them on social, like their posts, share your posts. The next thing is keeping your fans up to date, but getting a writing schedule. We talk about this a lot because authors accountability guide, there's links below where you can figure out what it takes for you to write the next book in your series. So you actually can, from a mathematical standpoint, I don't
mhm.
love the maths, but you can go, okay, my books are on average 80 to 90,000 words or 150,000 if you're some author, it just depends. And you can go, okay, I need to write this many words per day in this time period and giving myself a buffer to get it done and start keeping yourself accountable for that. Because as a celebrity, it's great that you're doing stuff, but think about even your favorite actors and stuff like that. Like they're constantly, look at Tom Cruise just came out with Mission Impossible 487 or wherever we're up to at this point in time. Like, I mean, people constantly are working so that you want to go see them doing movies. Like you see this a lot when Disney puts out Moana 1 and then Moana 2 and then like they do that in such a way so there's not an interest loss because it's not a coveted thing. It's a, do they remember that being their favorite princess or have they moved on to a different princess because there's a whole new princess out in between the movies? It's one of those things that you as an author have to remember. You're now in the business of writing books. So you have to figure out how to be in the business of writing books and how to keep those fans going. Um, what else, Jen? Because you're quite prolific. You got many series going.
You said having the math. I'm an English person, so the numbers don't quite work for me, which was why I appreciate. And this is on, if you join our accountability community, there's literally an Excel spreadsheet where you put in all of your work and you put in the date, and it does the math for you. So I can tell you that for my Heart of Stone, for book 3 to come out when I want it to, I have to write 1,287 words a day, which for me is not a big deal. I tend to, I'll either write like 20 words because I'm too busy editing and I don't make anything new. I just go back and finish, the section before, or I sit down and I write 5,000, 8,000 words in a chunk. That's generally how I write in waves. So my numbers are always scary and then they get back to normal. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good. I'm good. But having some sort of mathematical tracker, then you see it in black and white. You're like, oh, okay, I didn't hit my quota today. That means that my book isn't going to come out on time.
Exactly. And it tells you where you need to catch up. If you're just writing and like, I'm going to do it when I feel like it, it's fine, except for then your fans can't rely on it. You're going to have a hard time creating that community because you got to set yourself correct goals, but you have to know where you're going towards and track what you're doing when you're going towards it. I have a little bird out here helping me with this discussion. I hope that's not
Wonderful.
interrupting anybody, but I think that's something that a lot of authors need to look at and think about is how do you do this to feed the readers? So, you know, again, and don't be shy. Reach pinging other authors. Generally, authors are very very nice human beings and understand what it's like. If you run into somebody who's not a nice human being, then don't talk to them. There are literally probably thousands of other writers that write in your genre, maybe even in your area. Like I know there's a lot of like horror author and romance author groups and stuff like that that you can join,
Mhm.
and find writers in your community. Go to events where you can meet other writers and create that situation so you know exactly those people and can get to know them and go, hey, can we do newsletter swaps? What have you found successful? What have I found successful? Because readers find books by word of mouth. How is our word of mouth right now?
Mhm.
Social media. That is
Yeah.
word of
Pretty
mouth. Yeah, because
much.
most of us aren't hanging out in bookshops going, hey, you should read that book. Although I think that's a great idea if your book's in a bookshop to just casually be meandering around and go out with readers. Have you read this one? I heard it's great. Just make sure your picture's not on the back cover because that would be weird. Um,
Yeah, a little awkward.
little
But then
awkward.
also not awkward. Own it, right? You're an author, sell your books. It's okay to talk about them. But you don't want it to be the only thing you talk about. But having a business card on you all the time and being able to just bring that up, like, oh hey, you read fantasy, I read fantasy. Here, check it out. But one thing I did want to say is when you're thinking about series writing, that rapid release method is very effective. So you write all three books or however many are going to be in the series, and then you release them every month because that generates a lot of interest. And 30 days, yeah, as a reader, I'll wait, and I'll remember, oh, this book comes out in another 30 days. And then also, like Amazon's really good about reminding me, hey, book 3 is out. I'm like, yes, please, I need it now.
Yes. No, and you can pre-order it that way if you put
Mhm,
book 1, 2, 3, have them all done. And honestly, you might think, well, that's a lot. But I think also as an author, you can look at writing all three, figure out where your breaks are in them because it's a continuous story and you're
mhm,
already living it in your brain. So some people write multiple stories at a time. Jen, I know you're one of those that can sometimes bop around between stories. We have other authors that do that. I end up pretty singularly focused because otherwise I forget what story I'm writing what in, and that's just my brain and how it works. But sitting down and going, okay, let me write these ones so that I can get them out. You might think, well, that's going to take you a longer period of time, but it also gives you a breath to do the marketing around those 3, 6, 10 books, whatever they are, and gives you time to then get set up for your next series. But your readers are being fed and
mhm.
they're not having to wait. So there's no perfect way of doing this. There are just many different ways of doing that. And that's what we're saying is don't just think you have to keep your readers secret and safe, as Gollum would say, my precious, because they're
Yeah.
not. They're everybody's readers. And we do much better remembering that and creating that so we build each other up. One of my very good friends always says a rising tide helps all boats. So the more we all do together, the more readers that we find, and the more books we sell, and the more we get our work out there. So, Jen, before I wrap it up, any final words?
No, just keep writing. The more you write, the happier readers will be.
Exactly. We'll try to write every day. That's our
Yeah.
recommendation. If you need help with that, we have the Authors Accountability Planner. We have the Authors Accountability Group that you can join, find like minded authors, find some easy tools to do that. We're available on that channel. You can find the links down below in the show notes. And as always, we know writing is hard. Keep doing what you're doing. Your work is important, and you have readers out there that want to read it. And we will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.